Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Tatsuka Wop.
Yeah, Sriracha in the building.
Straw Hat Tie.
And it's the Popcornie podcast. Anything with a little bit of everything to do with pop culture, this is where you will find it.
And it's been a long time, man.
It has.
I felt like all three of us had a podcast with each other in over a month, right? I think the last podcast we've done.
Something like that.
It was me and you, Tyler,
yeah,
right? I think that was the last one, you know? Because he wanted to go on a vacation, fucking bastard.
Well, I'll dive down into what happened with me in the last month in a second. But for your guys' first time casting together, what you guys think about it? Did you? I watched the whole thing. I was in tune to the whole thing.
No, it was actually, I think it was really, really good.
Yeah,
I think you put a curse on us, so we made sure we started 2 hours later than we should have. So it was like he was still here.
It was
I'm here and
somehow we still had to call him, right? We had to call him. I think I
literally
hung up on him twice, and then you had to call him.
It was just funny because it was the simplest thing. It was one app to open and one button to press, and I was just like, but you know, we were just like, and what's great about Tommy, like, he has to like explain everything. I love it, but like you just explain, like you can.
You're not
say
wrong.
Yeah,
I know.
do that.
It's like you can say the 3 words, and he's like, all right, this is what you got to do.
Yeah.
So what I read the other day was that in this document, on this paper, that I'm holding,
totally
you know?
And it was cloudy outside with a chance of rain.
Right? I almost ran over a bird. Then I lost my page. I had to start over, but this is how we're going to do it.
Yeah. I don't know. It made me laugh when I was seeing you two get a little frustrated, but then like at the same time,
calm.
Yeah. But it's just funny, like on the phone, because like I knew it was something simple, and then when you actually got to the point and told me it, I was like, could have summed that up maybe a half hour ago.
Then he knew why I was so mad.
I'm a storyteller, man. This is what I do.
I was like, yo, you couldn't just say that. But you know what? He was still here technically.
Hey, man,
and I think you were watching, right?
I watched the entire time.
Tyler put you on mute. It was fucked up. I was like, that's why we didn't know you were writing the entire time.
I started my own TikTok.
There's a little thing right there that says notify me on mute. He muted your ass.
Because I couldn't find the Popcornie live stream, but then I realized I was on Popcornie on my phone. Like, I couldn't do it. But like, I wanted to chime in and be there in spirit, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because I was very happy that you guys ventured off on your own, because this is all of our casts. If you want to do a podcast by yourself, you can. You know what I mean? As long as underneath the blanket of Popcornie, entertainment and stuff like that, doesn't matter. You can go off and go do your own thing. You know what I mean? You can do your own thing. You want to do reviews. You want to talk comics, and because me and you watch a lot of these videos, and I think that you would be perfect for that shit.
I would love to do that.
You know what I mean?
I have to start doing that, to be honest with you.
So, like, the last month, the reason why I haven't been very active is, unfortunately, my landlord, you know, and granted, her situation is kind of dire at the moment. She came up to me and was like, hey, like, I want to sell the house, which was like a punch to the gut, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like...
Right after you gave her rent.
Yeah, I handed her $2,800.
Oh, thank you for the rent. Now get the fuck out.
You know what I mean? But, you know, in all honesty, her husband passed away in an untimely in a car accident. She has 2 young kids. She can't keep up with everything. And I get it. I hold no animosity. But, like, that weekend, before you guys cast it, that's when it happened. So, like, my world was rocked. So, like, I found a place within 5 days, which we just moved into yesterday. You know, shouts out to my brother. We killed that shit, bro. 100%.
Not bad, bro.
The move was smooth, and I still ended up being able to go to my yearly trip to North Carolina. You know what I mean? So, the second I got back, I went right into moving mode.
You brought the clear air, man, because when you were gone, the world was burning.
I know.
Sky was orange. I was like, it was like an asthmatic nightmare out there. Bro.
I was in North Carolina
enjoying the sun. We had 2 suns apparently. Like,
I mean, the air quality supposedly wasn't good, but like, I don't really go out when I'm in North Carolina.
Dude, it was orange out here.
Bro, I was looking at videos. I'm like, what the fuck did I escape? You know
what
I
mean?
Funny.
Like, I was watching the movie The Mist with my wife, and we're like, this is really bad timing to
Bernie
watch the
posted
movie
something about that.
Yeah, it was like coincidence, because we didn't think it was really that crazy. And then as we're watching the movie, as the mist is getting worse in the movie, and we're looking outside, we're like, yo, this is really bugged out right now.
Yeah, and I feel bad for everybody that had to sit there and deal with that.
That's crazy, man.
I saw pictures of the skyline of Manhattan, and I was like, yo, doomsday is fucking here. You know what I mean?
And you're shocked that they didn't tell you to wear a mask.
Yeah.
Probably when you should have been wearing something.
Well, they said around like
evening
time, they're like, all right, time to put on a mask. And then And then after that, the next day, it
But
kind
they
of
didn't
disappeared.
even it just disappeared. I felt like we should have kind of wore something to protect because you're literally breathing
it sucked for me because
I
work outside 24/7, so like we don't go inside at all, and unless it's like raining, there's a certain place that we go to that will maybe let us inside. But I was outside all day. I was in Garden City in the heat, in the moment of it too.
So you were in the worst of it.
Yeah, me and my boy, we left. We literally were like, all right, we're done for today.
This
And we just went home. And we just went home. And then, let me tell you though, it hit me like a rock. The next day, I woke up and I literally felt like I was just thrown into like, I don't even know, like a smoke pit. And I couldn't even work the next day.
No.
I swear to you.
Came in the gym. I had to close early at the gym because I was literally coming inside the gym.
I did not experience the smoke until like 2 days ago. When it came back,
that was nothing though.
I understand that, but like that was the first time, like I'm the see it and believe it kind of guy. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that shit was fucking fake. That didn't happen. But I know everybody's hitting me up and like flights are getting canceled, and I was leaving the next day. On my plane flight home, they were like, yo, you are going to smell the fire, and I smelt it in the plane.
Yeah.
But like the first time that I experienced it while I've been here, because apparently this shit is still going. A month later.
How is it still going?
I don't know.
There's like 200 something fires going on over there.
Yeah, that is for a whole other podcast.
Yeah, because we're really gonna waste some time.
But like I legitimately came out of Walmart when I was here on Friday.
Yeah.
You know, I came because I've been moving. Luckily, my landlord, before I even gave him $1, he was like, "Here's the key. Move in periodically." He's like, "I get it, bro. Don't even worry about it." Mad cool dude. Saved us, holding it down. I truly appreciate that. But coming out of Walmart after I left here, I was like, wow, I really fucking smell it now. Like now it's not a wise tale. It wasn't like, where were you? You know
At least you were able to enjoy your vacation. You know, because I could have messed up.
I was in my head the entire time while I was on vacation. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't as as much as I wanted it to be. But I'm happy to be back. We got so much stuff to talk about. We got a million different casts that we're going to do soon. We're going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff to expand this. We're finally going to I'm going to get the player cards done so we can figure out the brackets of the COC and everything
I
like
missed
that.
doing that. I'm not going to lie.
I do too.
Oh, the lights just turned on. Look, they missed it too. They brought us power.
Hey, we started the COC in this room. Everybody live, we're a little vintage for you guys now.
This is how we first started our very first podcasting, right? We did it right in this room with this table. Unfortunately, we don't have the Dollar Tree, blanket that we have on this thing.
That just made mad noise.
It made so much noise. But this is how we used to do it. Just for right now, because this is the only AC part of my gym at the moment. If we would have podcasted in the gym part, I think we would have passed out by now.
Well, we could have turned the lights off. We could have done that thing.
No, I would have been. This shirt would have been black.
Yeah,
I would have sweat right through this
in
damn
here,
thing.
so I completely agree.
Yeah. But I'm glad we did it though.
I like this.
It's nice on the couch. You guys have normal seats. I was the only one with a comfortable seat. These poor guys were sitting on wooden chairs.
No. You both had a comfortable seat. I have the metal chair. Don't even play with me.
I had a red rocking chair that I used to get yelled at because I used to rock all the time. I'm like, it's a fucking rocking chair. You know what I mean? Like
driving me nuts in that chair.
Oh my lord!
But now that we're all back together, what do you guys think of the movies that came out so far?
So there has been.
What have we seen?
The last time that we podcast, it was Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which we didn't really dive down too much into it, but you've seen it now.
I've seen it, and I honestly...
And now I kind of want to hear how you feel about it.
I think it was probably one of the best things they've done.
Completely agree with you.
In my opinion, it's at least top 7 MCU movie.
I love how you say 7 because top 5 would be tough.
It would be tough.
It would be tough. Now, see, I respect that.
Yeah, and that's on the top list.
Oh, yeah.
Like...
Bro, I cried in the movie, bro.
I'll give a listing, if we do some that further down on today's podcast, but that one of the best movies that came out, hands down. I think it was brilliant. I think each character had the best arc, the way to go out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You couldn't get any better than that. You got your answers, and now Batista's not coming back.
We had our
best
closure.
way. You had closure with every. The last time I actually enjoyed a closing like that was Breaking Bad.
Yeah,
Breaking Bad is probably one of the greatest fucking endings. Probably one of the greatest shows you could possibly watch.
I think Breaking Bad is the greatest show ever made, even though I've only seen it once.
Ooh, that's a tough
but
take.
Because it hits so hard.
It is a great show. I've watched it twice, but
it's so hard.
it's
There's
just...
a million shows out there.
But back to Guardians.
Yes, I want to stay
best
on
thing,
Guardians
honestly,
right now,
that's probably the best
we
thing.
We talked a
now,
little bit. We didn't get to hear how he felt.
Raccoon, if you didn't get emotional,
bro,
I don't even want to talk to you.
Bro, I'm getting emotional.
You know what I mean? And then I say that's probably going to break a lot of people's hearts, however they were going to do to Raccoon. Because honestly, even in comic books, he's probably one of the saddest stories to be written.
It was good to see, like, the behind it, you know, the behind the scenes of it, and how innocent he was, and like
and stuff like
they
that,
tried to duplicate him, but it wasn't the technology that he was searching for. It was Rocket that was the one that did all this. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, he tried to. What was the main villain? I forget his name now. Like, my brain just went blank. Which was fucking awesome, man. It was totally RoboCop.
No, it was. Why the hell did we forget? What the hell is his name? I have his face in my head.
He's like irrelevant, but at the same time, he was super menacing in this movie. Like,
we slept on him. Everybody slept on him.
Like, even my mom was like, after the movie, she was like, she's like, that was a really good movie, but like, she was like, I didn't like how like torturous they were to the animals and stuff, and like, I was just like, because it was pretty.
It's crazy because you can watch a human get tortured all day long. Man.
An animal,
you do something to an animal, it's like you're in a movie theater. I'm gonna kill this motherfucker. You know?
Oh yeah. But we're animal lovers. You know
absolutely.
I mean?
You come to my house, I'm like Ace Ventura.
I mean, I'm not
gonna shake the keys and the
lie.
animals come out.
I don't like raccoons and I don't like possums. Raccoons are cute and all, but I've waged a war against. Like, I used to live in this house in
I don't like
Point.
Possums, bro.
These motherfuckers would come out in force. And I would come home like drunk at 3 o'clock in the morning. They'd be rummaging through the garbage can. And I'd just be sitting there throwing snowballs at these fucks.
They'll probably throw
like
something back at you.
my walkway in. Rocket's story and that was like Toy Story. You know, like in Sid's room.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. It was, how he was putting all together the pieces and stuff like that.
You know what I mean? Like, where they thought you thought they were scary when you first saw them.
But now you understood why they were the way they were.
Bro, it was, oh my God, like, I want to cry thinking about that.
And you think about that's relatable to kids in school and stuff like that. Like, you might judge a book by its cover, but then, like, you actually get to know somebody. You realize what they've been through. So it's a very relatable situation, and I thought that was freaking genius. Like I said, I will put it on par as like Infinity War.
It's up there. Now, Infinity War is really top tier.
But like,
as a standalone movie, because you can't add the Avenger movies in the top of Marvel movies.
No. But
you know what I mean?
But
because
quality,
the singular movies, is what makes it. That was the collaboration.
But as a whole, as Marvel movies,
I'm not wrong about that. It's a collaboration of all stories being put together. That's what makes it.
But the way Infinity
These are standalone movies that I'm talking about. Because my favorite movie. Like, top 2 standalone would be, Guardians of the Galaxy and, like, Winter Soldier.
Winter
Soldier. Nothing will really ever top.
No, Winter Soldier will be single
but
movies.
But you feel me on the individualness.
But I just mean, like, in general, Marvel-wise, all they've done, definitely Infinity War, and then I'll put that as second. And then the way they got your feelings in it, the way Infinity War got your feelings, too. Guardians kind of matched that, to be honest with you. And it didn't even have, if you think about it, it didn't even have, like, the MVPs of Marvel in this movie.
Yeah. No.
They literally took a comic book that it was very popular like more in the 80s, and then it just kind of died off and dwindled, and took something that nobody really cared about and made it one of the greatest things you could possibly watch and enjoy.
I thoroughly agree with that.
Freaking clever, man. Freaking clever. Because let's be real, how many Spider-Man movies have we gotten and they kind of... You were like, again.
I mean, besides the last Spider-Man, which is probably one of the biggest epic moments. This
wasn't a remake. This was an original.
But this is their first story, as a whole since Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah. Because they were in Love and Thunder.
Exactly,
they were
but for like a split second.
They were always chiming in on certain other stuff.
You got Star-Lord, who's a drunk. Fucking epic. You know what I mean? And... I love the fact that the guy who's trying to learn the whistle. You know what I mean? Like, I thought that was fun. The fucking soundtrack of this movie.
He was fun in the second one when he shot himself in the neck too towards the end.
Yeah.
See, my major gripe. So like, there's a lot of positives to this movie that I like. It's the soundtrack, which Guardians have always portrayed a phenomenal soundtrack.
Every movie they came out with, their soundtrack is epic.
It's supposed to be.
And they're saving the original music that we all enjoyed from years and years ago.
And now they got the iPad, so they got generational music.
Yes.
You know, when they opened it up, and what was it? REM was like a fucking opening song, you know what I mean?
He was playing, what, the one tape in the first movie forever, and then he upgraded a little bit. Yeah, you know, and that was classic. As he's kicking the things across.
What? Yeah,
the dance off at the end, you know, with the main villain. It was this movie, the trilogy. If you really want to think about hero movie trilogies, I would probably put it in top 5.
Yeah,
yeah,
because
there's too many to try to fight with for top 5.
It was better than the second one,
hands down. Which the second one was great.
No, it was great. The soundtrack is what really made it, because they did a lot more
from the beginning.
Fleetwood
The
Mac and
soundtrack
Stevie
was on
Nicks
there.
in the second movie. You know what I mean?
Well, the first one is definitely. I'd say
first one's my favorite Marvel movie.
Really?
Yeah, because it brought the cosmic, brought cosmos.
Oh.
Besides Thor, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but
Thor 1 is slept on. Thor 1 was actually a brilliant
but Thor
movie.
was here.
You know,
it wasn't cosmos. He was on Earth.
Well, he was brought down to explain it because he got thrown down to Earth. So remember,
this is the first time we were actually experiencing.
Yeah, but they were in
space.
Asgard, and we were in we were
for a little bit
branching it too, because Loki brought that in the Avenger movies. You know what I'm saying? So when they had to close that portal in the first Avenger movie, we already kind of got into that mode.
Yeah.
You know?
But, like, this was, like, because Marvel is, you know, it's the soldier, it's the average person, and it's fucking space and cosmos and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So this was the first one. So to seal it off, because we're not getting any more Guardians. We might get the new Guardians, because the way they ended it off.
Yeah. Well, they got to do better with Warlock.
Oh my God!
Granted that nobody really knows who he is unless you're like a real fan.
Oh, I know. Adam Warlock should have been part of the Infinity War. He should have been part of Endgame. He should have been part of it all.
If they make him like a Thor, I'm gonna be pissed. Because Thor was mighty, and then he became a funny bitch. He tried to make it. Yeah. I mean, that's how it went. Warlock. I mean, you know, he had his moment.
The thing that I didn't like the fact of the actor who played him. I was like, yo, they're gonna make him fucking. They better not make him goofy. They better not make him this.
I thought they were gonna kind of make him dark,
and then they fucking made him goofy
because who he is. He could play a dark character.
Yes, but no, they made him stupid.
I know, and that's why I was so mad about it, because he's not that character that should play like that.
He's not a character to play with.
No.
You know
Remember, he wore the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
He single-handedly could stop Thanos.
That's what I mean. You know that's what pissed me off. That's what did. So, and then they let you know that you will see Star-Lord again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is fucking awesome.
But my main...
Now, do you think Nebula and him were a love interest?
No, never that.
Absolutely.
Nebula's a little hoe in the comic book. She fucks everybody.
No, I think they're kind of leaning towards that.
I mean...
They were talking a lot more feelings with each other.
Yeah.
They were a lot closer.
I feel like she has a functional vagina.
Well, listen, we're in technology days, man. Listen, how many of these sickos? How many sickos are banging these flashlights? If they can bang flashlights, they can bang Nebula.
Everybody read the last Thanos
Remember,
comic.
this is a parental advisory.
Okay,
we do not condone everything Tommy says on the Popcornie podcast.
we at the Popcornie podcast stand beside our fellow co-hosts, but not necessarily agree with the topics that they speak upon.
But I like how they did Nebula, though, in this movie.
I don't like the de-evolution of the way she looks, because like I feel like she's turning cartoony when she was like rough and rugged and it looked dope.
Well, that was
like
her
in the first couple.
Yeah.
And then now she's like overly blue and like it doesn't look.
I think
right.
it's just whatever parts that she had to put together.
You know what I noticed with movies now? It's good, but I also appreciate when, you know, writers and directors put their own little twist on it. But like, they're really trying to go comic accurate with all the movies.
Yeah, as they should. Though.
They should, but I'm saying like, I appreciate sometimes it has like a little twist. Like,
right.
For example, and what was it? I think in The Flash they did it, right?
The Flash.
Yeah.
You've seen The Flash?
Yeah, I've seen The Flash.
Oh, I've seen The Flash. I know somebody.
It's alright. I pretty much know what it is, and honestly, it's a shame that it's not getting the box office rights that it should, because everybody pretty much protested not to go see this movie.
We will definitely get into that more, but let's continue on Guardians, and then we'll hop into that next.
Yeah, no, I think it's a top 7 movie. I have no complaints.
James Gunn did it, so he made me now.
Wait, what are we talking about? Are we going Batman or Guardians right now?
No, James Gunn did.
Well, James Gunn did both. He did the Flash.
Yeah, he did both.
And Guardians.
So
that's what I'm talking
He
about.
wants to talk
Guardians.
about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay, so you're saying that's your top 7?
Yeah, that's my
Okay,
top
because we said that
7
before, so I was just
MCU
making sure.
movie. Because, I mean, the first one was amazing. Second one was and then the third one just blew me away. And
Third one was phenomenal.
because
bro.
right now Marvel's just in a downfall.
A rut.
Yeah, but that movie definitely was the start to bring it back up. But we'll see how it goes,
And my brother said Andy Machete did the Flash. We got the man in the chair without the man in the chair. Shouts out to my brother all day.
All right, so can we go into now? Can we go into the Flash? I think we did some good Guardian stuff.
James Gunn did Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I was anti hashtag ban DC because revamping the whole thing. I like Cavill as Superman. I was very upset. But once I saw what he did in Guardians 3, I'm like, if he implements that essence and that feel of that movie into this new DC, I'm all for it, because now I believe in him to do it. Because sometimes when you have something really good, you can't replicate it anymore. You know what I mean? It's it's really hard to capture that feeling again.
What James is going for now, it's almost like the original way of how he grew up on Superman. Like Snyder's version was more like the Injustice.
Yeah,
world.
But it's dark as fuck.
Yeah, not as much as I enjoy seeing a different version of Superman, but we got to remember that was not how Superman was made and done. So what James is trying to do is kind of bring back the original. Which, where's your VHS, bro? You got to put that VHS up in the air, because honestly, this is pretty much the Superman that James Gunn is gonna do. And this is nothing but hope, justice. You know what I'm saying? He's going to have some badass villains in there, too, but he's bringing back the original. The only problem I have is the Superman that he picked just looks like Henry Cavill.
He does. He really does.
So why can't we keep Henry Cavill? Even though Henry Cavill's going to be...
all the Supermans kind of look alike.
Word on the street is Henry Cavill just rocked a James Bond movie right now.
What, as a bad guy?
No, as James Bond.
I can see him as James Bond.
Yeah, so he might be our new James Bond. I can see that. I can see that. Ever since the whole Tom Cruise movie, when he did the cha-cha, and it became so popular with the cha-cha, he was doing that everywhere. And he said his muscles
did that by
were
accident.
Tight. He's like, my muscles were tight. I had to get the blood back in there.
By accident.
And they loved that shit. But
so,
back to that, yeah.
Real quick, 1 to 5 ranking Guardians 3, and then we'll move on. 1 to 5. What would you rank Guardians 3?
I would give it a solid 4.8.
I give it a fucking 5.
Just give it a 5.
Yeah,
what is the 4.8 for?
Because the only downfall I had of the movie, I didn't think it wasn't too much, but like they tried to kill off every character, but didn't.
Nobody
kill it
died.
Off. That's what I'm saying.
And that's the best part, because everybody's like, yeah, because I know Rocket dies. I'm like, okay.
But here's the thing.
Oh, I know Star-Lord dies. Okay. Nobody fucking died.
Me personally,
if you know comic books, everybody comes back. They're always alive.
You just rewrite them in.
Yeah.
That never happened. What are you talking about?
Me personally, for story-wise, I like when a big character gets a death, because that shows so much development throughout the other characters. But besides that, that's why I give it a 4.8. So
I'll give it a 5. I thought it was a flawless ass movie. I thought story. I thought the emotion behind it, the backstory of Rocket.
James writes, everybody dies.
That's my brother for you. 5, right?
Fucking if I could give it an extra one, I'd give it a 7.
Okay.
That movie, there's nothing to complain about with that movie.
It was a great way to seal a trilogy, and it's arguably the best Guardians movie.
It is.
Argument. I think the first one is better, but that's because it's the beginning of it.
I think I don't think you could I don't even think you could compare each one. They're both beautifully unique in their own way.
I find it funny how we're just never mentioning the second one. It's great.
Because the second one, the problem is with the second one is that Eco, right? That's his name.
Yeah.
He's a lot more stronger than that, and he they kind of dumbed him down a little bit.
Too bad.
They turned him into this goo. And he just turned goo all over the fuck. That was stupid to me. He eats worlds, bro. He fucking creates worlds, destroys them. He's a virus. You know what I mean? That's literally what he is.
They explained that. If you
he's
look
a
at
root.
But if you remember how he explained how he pretty much was banging everybody on every planet.
My brother said the only flawless movies is Predator and Finding Nemo.
Morbius.
Fucking Morbius. But I now
Toy Story. I'll add another one. You want a flawless movie and series? Toy Story.
Yeah, Toy Story's good.
It's great. We had a little piece of that in Guardians. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now the most controversial movie of nowadays is it's the Flash, and it's not even the Flash the movie itself.
No, it's the piece of shit character that they probably should have changed.
Yeah.
And honestly, even though I do enjoy that him as Flash, I actually kind of liked him as Flash. But what he was doing offset, how do you pay somebody like that still to do that?
And they let him walk the red carpet.
Which is
I
mind-boggling.
mean, his hair looked dope as shit in the red carpet.
Fuck
his hair. Fuck his hair. Fuck him.
I used to have long hair,
You
so
know,
I respect it. You
fuck
know what I mean? Shake them a rock and a bald people out
All
there.
right, if anybody's not watching, I took my hat off. I'm bald, all right? I'm angry about his hair. But also, too, he's just a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And honestly, as much as I really didn't like James, help me out here, the guy who did The Flash in the show, the TV show CW, what's his name?
I know. Well, Grant Gustin.
Yes, right? Him?
Gustin, yeah.
As much as I didn't care for him in the show, because I kind of thought he was like an emotional bitch of a Flash, they could have replaced him in that show.
You know what's
They
funny?
could have did that
The
in
problem
the movie.
is
They could have did that in the movie.
The movie was already made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
They didn't want to cancel
They
because of
did-
Michael
they did
Keaton.
some- they did some
Michael
retakes
Keaton
on
was
it.
not in it. We never would have got a Flash movie. I think if they would have canceled that movie, Michael Keaton.
But we
wasn't
need,
in it.
bro. That was just.
But I'm just saying, if they didn't decide to have him come in, they went another route for like a different Batman story, we never would have got this Flash movie. I think Michael Keaton's the whole reason why they kept this movie going, because they knew like the real fans out there were gonna freak out. But I think we all forgot that the petition that they were putting out there for people not to see this movie.
he stole the movie for me, Michael Keaton, for sure.
Michael.
He single-handed beat a Kryptonian.
Yes, he did.
What Batman? There's no more crime in Gotham. I'm not talking anymore.
Michael Keaton Batman
I'm gonna
killed
talk again.
motherfuckers. Okay.
Okay? Thank
Michael
you.
Keaton Batman.
How
killed
old was he in
people,
this movie?
okay?
Like 70 something. Okay?
Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
76
And he was
years
so
old.
bored. He was fucking painting, his houses
So,
and everything, right? And
what-
What other Batman did that?
No,
What
there is
other-
no other Batman.
There is no other Batman.
There's no other Batman that killed. There is none.
Actually,
None.
not true.
Well, that killed extensively like this guy. Yo, this
Technically,
guy,
the animated
Michael
series
Keaton
Batman
in
killed
Batman
everybody.
Returns handed this guy the fucking the penguin bomb and handed it to him, tossed him in the well, and he blew up. The motherfucker kills people, bro. It's phenomenal. That's what Batman should have done. But then later in the years, it was like, I don't kill, I don't do this. Batman
because
kills motherfuckers. You have
No,
to.
he technically, if like I said, if
You
you,
killed
actually
the-
really
you killed
watch
the Joker.
if you watch all the animated series of Batman and the Justice League show, they fucking kill everybody.
Bro, you have to.
He's shooting missiles out of his fucking car in his plane, and the helicopter blew up. You're dead.
Yeah.
He kills people off of roofs.
That's
Okay?
what I mean. At least Christian Bale told you, oh no, I'm not going to kill you on this one because it's just going to break your leg.
Yeah.
Batman and the other one didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
You were dangling from the Empire State
So,
Building and got his hands.
Now I know you haven't enough
I know,
to
I
continue
know.
this
Plenty of
conversation,
this,
but
yeah.
for me, talking to you now, Straw Hat, my favorite moment of Flash is when they went to the Michael Keaton's mansion, and you walked
see
back into the
everything.
kitchen where he sat there and
Yeah.
ate with Vicky Vale, and you walked through the room of statues. You know what I mean?
So it's all
And you
stuff,
are back into the Tim Burton Batman
Yes.
movie like you never fucking left,
and you
bro.
saw the suits, you saw everything, bro.
The mention
He had
of
the
Alfred
blue
with the
and gray
bells.
suit too, which is great.
It was so creatively done. Like, I flipped the fuck out
Yeah.
when I saw the kitchen because like they sat in the big table room. It's
Yeah.
like, I don't think I ever sat
Did
in
they
here.
use
Yeah,
the
yeah.
original set almost?
Everything, bro.
They did, right?
The original
Because
fucking
that was, bro,
a
that's picture
mansion,
perfect. Yeah,
the
no,
fucking
picture
the
perfect.
statue room and the kitchen when they were drinking the wine,
Yeah.
and the stairwell. You remember when she fell down? It's like, I'm a little drunk, and then he went
Yeah.
up and took it down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
Like,
saw all these clips.
like the
man.
G that he is. You know what I mean? Like that to me was the little small little details that makes it fucking epic.
Yeah.
It makes it you're in that universe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The whole funny thing with Flash and like the whole like
The
pop
other
culture
Flash,
change.
can I say something about his helmet? What the fuck?
What, Batman's helmet?
No. The other
Flash?
Flash. Yeah, why was
What,
it so
Barry's?
fat looking thick on the neck.
Because he made it himself.
It's fucking terrible.
I mean, he made it himself. Yeah.
Okay. That explains a lot more. Because I'm like, how is he moving?
Do you want me to spoil it for you, or you want to wait?
They already spoiled it.
Okay, so basically,
I'll let you say because I can go off a million miles a second. But I want you to talk about it.
Your generation ruins the movie for people.
This is actually pretty dope. So
pretty much, Barry Allen he runs so fast that he's pretty much traveling the multiverse, but then the Dark Flash comes out of nowhere, just kicks him, and he just flies he thinks back in front of his house, but really, everyone's thinking throughout most of the movie, they're like, oh, he went back in time, because he meets a younger version of himself, like a goofy, idiotic, version of himself.
Yeah.
Who isn't version.
Yeah, who, isn't the Flash yet. But really, he went through different multiverse. And you find out
the Flashpoint.
Yeah,
it's pretty much the Flashpoint.
It's that.
And then whatever. So
to an extent,
he, the Barry Allen from DCEU, took the younger Barry Allen and made him get his powers himself.
So Barry Allen lost his powers.
Yeah, I know
that.
I know that.
And forced the storm to try to happen again, but it didn't work for him. It went into the younger version of him.
Yeah, and then
that's why they have the different colors in the lightning.
No. The whole suit thing is super dope. And
the lightning is blue and the other one is
egging it up.
Yeah,
he's building it up. I see what he's doing.
You see, throughout the movie, it's funny, actually. I thought this was actually pretty clever, but, and Ezra Miller, as I can say, he did do a good job.
He's a good Flash.
Despite all he did, it was two people and two different personalities bonding together.
The younger version was so fucking annoying.
He was.
He's
annoying. He's like a kid you want to punch in the face. That's how annoying it was. And then they end up becoming so close and they gain so much respect for each other that when the real Barry Allen, if you want to say, he was trying to get his powers back with Michael Keaton, shocking himself with the lightning in the sky and the chair and the chemicals.
Was a dope scene.
It was.
I thought it was a cool scene.
But really, since, the younger Barry Allen took his Flash suit to just do everything for him, he gave the suit back, and he took one of Michael Keaton's Batman suits and just cut it up.
That's pretty funny.
That's why the symbol is Batman with the lightning bolt. He took an old school Batman suit and turned it into a Flash suit. That's why it's so big.
Okay, so now the other thing is I want to see how accurate they did with the lightning. So the lightning is always maturity, whose speed is powerful or who's
when
quicker,
they're running.
Who's more the lightning behind them. Who had the blue lightning and which one had the yellow lightning?
The younger Barry Allen.
Okay, so that's now technically in movie wise, right, and show wise, I think the blue lightning is the fastest. That means you're more connected because Wally West in the comic books
you are in tune to the Speed Force
a lot more. Yeah. And then Barry, if you have the yellow one, there's maturity, but you're not as fast as the other ones. Yeah. So did they do that same thing?
So many. Well,
in that movie, or they didn't really. They just different universe, different color lightning.
They didn't really run together a lot.
Because I know that footlock scene, which I don't think you guys understand. Well,
there was a couple
how
of
epic
moments.
that footlock is.
There was
right?
when they put the foot up against
it, and
then
the
burst is like a fucking nuclear bomb. I know exactly what you're talking about.
The biggest covers.
Flash was one of my favorite characters growing up.
Flash is probably one of the best. Flash is DC Spider-Man almost. How
to an extent, but the problem is with Flash is that he has the power to reverse fucking everything. He can demake motherfuckers if he wanted to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But Spider-Man's choices almost do the same thing.
This movie with him being young sort of gave you an insight to how he perceived it when he first became it.
Well, no,
you know what I mean?
But not necessarily because it's a different multiverse.
Yes, I understand, but now him being the younger version, finding out, hey, I have powers, and then is gullible, and this and that, and then all of a sudden he just starts doing shit where he fucking vibrates to the fucking floor and he's fucking naked.
That was
you know
funny.
what I mean? Shit like that. It's you can see somewhat of a sense of what he felt when the original Barry dealt with it.
What did you guys think about Supergirl?
I love
awesome.
Her. I love her.
I think that she should get her own shit.
I hope she gets her own shit.
It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. That whole universe is gone.
Universe is gone.
The
I
story
wish-
behind her
But,
is fucking
but
awesome.
if they decide to do a true Supergirl movie,
Do you want me to tell you what she is? What it's about with her?
I don't give a damn.
They sent They sent Kal-El to Earth and sent her with him to protect him.
Yeah, that's the original story.
And
I know that.
They,
been the
General
story since day
Zod
one.
caught the kid, caught
So
Kal-El,
that's what changed.
killed him,
Okay, so that's what
and
changed.
she's the one that came to Earth.
Okay. But if
But
they
she was
decide-
locked up from the very beginning.
Yes.
Like she never had a
That's
chance.
what they did at Flashpoint
Yeah.
with Superman.
She never had a
Superman
chance
got
to like
taken, the government
even
take-
adapt to the world.
So they did that. They just
But
used
with her.
Supergirl.
Yeah, with
That's
her.
fucking.
So like she came
'Cause
out
if
and
they-
was like, you know what this symbol is, and he's like, yeah, peace. He's like, okay, like I understand.
Yeah.
She's like, why did you save me? She's like, you look like you needed saving, and that was her thing because she was about to go Brightburn on motherfuckers, bro.
Oh yeah.
She was
know what I mean?
gonna tear up the whole world.
You
Yeah,
think
she
they'll
was
let
gonna
her be
tear
like
up
a
everything.
Supergirl character. They decided
But
to do
then
Supergirl
realized
movie,
that
what?
there's good, and that General Zod came in, which I love the fact that what's his face who played him.
Yeah, he just played
actually went to Snyder and was like, bro,
He asked
they
permission.
asked me to do it. It's
I
like,
think I sent you
I don't
guys
want to
that,
do it.
right?
He's like, no, go ahead and fucking do it,
Yeah.
bro. You know what I mean?
Well, he put a lot of. He just wished they used him more. He said too because he really wasn't. You know, they used him, but like he wished he had a lot more screen time like he did in Man of Steel.
My least favorite part of the movie is really the Speed Force in itself. I didn't
I
like
love
the
that
way
shit.
it is. It was very
Yo, the way Barry runs pisses me off.
yeah. Same thing with the Merc with the mic. Merc with the mic can't stand the way he runs. He runs like a frog running on water.
Like this.
Yes.
He's doing that shit.
No,
They-
he doesn't,
they-
no, the Flash is straight with the finger.
That's where this is Marvel, right? So that's where Quicksilver, when they do his running shit, I think they nail that perfectly.
Yeah, that's good.
I think
They do
because
that
in
good.
Zack Snyder's when he did the Justice League, when he reversed time towards the end in that Justice League movie, I thought that was well done.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
I just don't understand, and I agree with you guys, why they make him look so stupid when he's running that way. I get it. Like, I know you go so fast, it looks
No,
slow.
so it's more of
but
like
it's
him
like,
and free flow mind thinking that
I
he's
know,
doing
but
it because
take
he's
some notes.
thinking
Yeah.
and
Take
talking to himself while he's doing it.
yeah,
there was
but
a
you don't have
lot
to
of
look like
good
a fucking-
time
like a
travel in
bitch,
this movie.
You know?
Like there's a lot of them breaking that law of time
Well,
travel.
that's what Flash
You know
is
what I mean?
mainly known for, doing.
I
Even when he's trying to do good, he's always fucking things up.
unfortunately the movie is literally out of the Snyderverse the worst box office.
It's doing horrendous.
But
That's
it's
the
because
only
of-
is because they're protesting that actor. That's the only reason why.
I
And the
totally-
thing that
yeah.
sucks is now we're not getting a Batman Beyond movie.
Yeah.
Because that movie was supposed to rake in the money, which
Mm-hmm.
it could have, and I don't blame people for doing that either.
I understand, but I
boycotting
totally
this person.
forgot what the fuck the man did.
Yo, he's done a lot, dude.
I
Like-
dove
like-
back down into it.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
did.
say we gotta go into that. Like
No.
I don't want to
I-
go
no,
into
I
that.
don't wanna go
I
into it
totally,
either, you know,
I
the guy's
totally
a piece of
forgot
shit.
because I got so excited to go and see
He
the movie.
wished
that
he
I
was
totally
the Flash
forgot.
to change
Yeah.
all that, you know, because he would
I
have his
think-
career.
I-
The guy's a fucking douchebag.
Yeah.
All right, he's
I-
a fucking asshole.
And he ruined a series that we could have got. Because don't tell me, well, I know, nobody tell me out there in the Instagram world that Michael Keaton as the old Batman from Batman Beyond wouldn't be.
I also hear that was just a ploy to get people to go and watch it. Like, hey, if this does good, we're gonna get a Batman Beyond.
Michael Keaton was talking about
Michael
it too.
Keaton
so,
said it in the movie himself. He's like, "Yo, thank you. You brought me back."
yeah,
Which is like, to me, I was like, I instant was like, "Yo, my
because he's the
fucking
greatest
God, bro."
Batman. He's the Batman.
I agree with you 1,000%.
The only one I might put in front of him is from the classic.
I just wish he
TV
was
show.
able to move a little bit better because I can just
Bro,
now
those-
see him
but
being
now,
so tight
honestly,
in the
Because I
suit.
see the fight scenes that he did, those are fucking.
No, he kicked ass in the fucking
Yo,
movie.
no,
bro.
Okay, so
He-
Ben
he-
Affleck did
The
hold that.
Batwing itself.
Ben Affleck did hold that title for a while.
The Batwing
Michael Keaton
itself.
It's
Yeah,
just pretty
he-
much like
he
Kevin
beat
Hart
the
said. He
piss.
just put the dick on the table and said, "This is me, and I'm Batman.
It's
and this
just-
is how it's done." He
it's
just,
just-
his glide down.
Yeah.
The bulletproof cape just fucking
Which
sitting
that
there.
whole scene was phenomenal, bro.
Bro, I played that on YouTube like 1,000
Phenomenal,
times. It's
bro.
probably my most played up video of this month right now.
Michael
he
Keaton-
kicked ass.
Michael
And the
Keaton-
Kryptonian beating that he did.
Thank you for allowing Michael Keaton to come back and reprise the role. I felt like a little kid again. Like I
Yeah.
said, the highlight to me was really going back to his mansion because that is the small little details that make it that universe. You know what I mean? And I truly feel like there was so much more potential for this universe to go, but unfortunately, we have to get that out of our fucking database because it's no more.
I think they wanted to, but the guy kept on screwing up, so they
Come
just
on,
had to
bro.
wrap
We
up
didn't get
this movie.
fucking Darkseid, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
We got Darkseid in another universe talking shit to Steppenwolf, and it was like, yo, like we could have.
So good.
Oh my god, bro.
You want to talk about the greatest villain that I feel?
Hands down.
Hands down.
That puts it on Superman?
Every time.
Fuck yeah, bro.
Every time.
Remember the animated movie with him?
Oh, dude, he whooped his
me?
ass. He whooped his ass.
He absorbs powers.
Yeah.
Not like he can take powers from people, but he harnesses it and makes them stronger, bro.
Wonder Woman put her freaking sword in the dude's eye. They took out his other eye in the movie, and he still took on the Justice League. Yeah. Like, the dude was a beast, and it just sucks because you're never going to see a Superman versus Darkseid battle.
No, maybe. Well, we don't know.
Oh, okay.
I gotta watch the Lois and Lane thing though, because everybody keeps talking about it. So
Doomsday,
everybody keeps talking about it. I need to watch it.
You guys have to watch that show. Have to.
I will.
You want to talk about a show that's saving Superman? Is not ruining nothing?
My brother keeps saying like I keep hearing good things. We should watch.
Oh, please watch that.
I'm going to.
You got to get used. You got to get used to the corniness in the beginning. All right, because I feel like that's everybody's break off first show, and it's a little corny, getting emotion going. But bro, every bad guy is perfect. Steel is badass. I like how they kind of do it with him.
I never like Steel.
No, but you'll like this Steel because he's different.
I just see Shaq.
I
see Shaq.
But people don't believe that movie actually really happened.
That movie definitely
That's
did.
like one of the
But it was like it felt more like a made-for-TV kind of movie. You know what I mean?
He got paid so much.
Oh, of course, man. Fucking I am Kazam.
One thing is, I wanna hear your opinion. You can chime in your opinion too, but for Tommy at least.
Don't you tell me.
At the end of the Flash movie, how did you feel about seeing the Nicolas Cage Superman? That was a big thing.
So Nicolas Cage
Superman. I never understood
Superman,
why that was a big deal.
Because that was the Superman that was supposed to happen in the 90s.
Yeah, I'm glad it did.
And the
it
fact that
terrible.
he fucking battled, not because they CG'd the shit out of it. He battled the fucking spider. Mm-hmm. I thought that was super clever, and that was a nod to Kevin Smith, who was a big hater because he was the one that was supposed to direct the movie. And the fact that the multiverse allowed it to fucking happen.
Yeah, that was cool.
The only gripe that I have is that we saw Christopher Reeves and we saw the original Supergirl.
Yeah.
Christopher Reeves did say in a video, "I do not want to be implemented in any likeness as Superman."
Thank you. Yep.
I do not want to be implemented in anything.
That just proves. I don't want to get into that. That's another podcast.
I got chills thinking about that.
Bro.
You know what I mean? Because that was
they should have never did that.
That
so
man's turning over in his grave right now. But to me, it was epic. Because you got the original Superman.
Yeah, but
it's
not the same. Just leave it. He's dead. That was his
wish. I enjoyed
that was his
it, and
wish.
I was like, yes, at the same time. But then I realized, I was like, yo, you just went against a dead man's wishes.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
You know what I mean?
I didn't really.
I thought it was dope.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage, hilarious. I think I was the only person in the theater that was flipping the fuck out to see that. I was like, yes, this is fucking awesome.
The only Nicolas Cage thing I want to see come back, which is, we could talk about this probably in a little bit, him going back as Spider-Man, the North Spider-Man.
Oh,
yeah. He's supposed to get an animated series, though, I thought.
We all seen it, right?
I mean,
we all seen it, right? We all seen the Spider-Man? Well, he makes that appearance at the end.
Mm-hmm. Let's fucking dive down into that one, boy.
Even though that was a long-ass movie, man.
I want to individually hear each one of your opinions about the movie. Like full
I'll go last.
Stretch.
I'll go last.
Let's go last. So
First hour fucking dragged like a motherfucker, but it was nice and it was good. I've seen it twice. Now hear me out. It was good. I loved it.
I should have went.
I enjoyed it, but it went a little too long with the progression to where we're going to go.
Why?
But now this is while I'm watching it, knowing how the ending ends, it makes sense because it's to be continued. So it's a build up into something a lot bigger. When I was watching it for the first time, I didn't know that was going to happen.
No, but it was telling a really good.
I understand. It was nice and it was emotional and it was beautiful. The changes with Gwen and like in her universe of the way it looked and like the paint and like the kind of like the the abstractness to it. Like art was fucking phenomenal. Like it was so
it's never
good.
Been done.
But I felt like that was a legitimate hour of no like action, no like except for like the whole dude. I forget his name.
Spot?
Yeah, Spot. He was fucking hilarious, and I love him, and I want a figure of that motherfucker, okay? Because he is dope. But, like, the whole her coming back and, like, their... You know, I get the whole them two together and stuff like that, but I feel like it just stretched a little too long.
Interesting.
That was that. But when it came to, like... we're in the Spider-Verse now, and we're dealing with every single Spider-Man who's ever existed in the history of Spider-Man. Fucking 2000 fucking what's it called? 2099. The whining, moping. Oh my God!
I know.
Fucking yo, man.
I know.
Scarlet Spider. You
but
know
then he
like,
starts flexing. He's like, "I'm so jacked. Like you cannot get out of these arms."
Yeah. That part of the movie was absolutely genius, and can't ever be topped. Like Spider-Man wise, like I thought Spider-Man, No Way Home. You know what I mean? I thought that was the greatest Spider-Man thing that I've ever seen. Yeah. But I think that real
theater experience, so nothing will ever compete to No Way Home. But
yeah, because of the excitement of it. But to have like a Spider-Man, moment because you had every single one of them in this.
Yeah, Spider-Man.
You had Tobey Maguire in it. You had Andrew Garfield in it.
Spider-Man 2, Dr. Octopus in the movie theater is still better than any of those Spider-Man movies in the movie theater.
Oh yeah, Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock. Greatest one. Hands down, top 5 greatest superhero movie of all time.
And
I'll give a top 5 to that.
Yeah,
straight up away. The problem is with Tobey Maguire, he's a better Peter Parker than he is Spider-Man.
That's why I kind of like Garfield, because Garfield's the best Spider-Man.
And then you have Tom Holland, who's literally both of them.
Tom Holland should be either the Spectacular Spider-Man or the Ultimate.
No,
Spider-Man.
they said he's Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah,
that's
how they have to kill him off though soon to do Miles Morales if they're gonna do that.
That's
the Ultimate Spider-Man.
I know I went negative in the very beginning, but that is because the second time around watching it, first time around I was in it. Second time around I was just like, all right, this is just going a little bit, dealing with his parents and being punished. And doing this and doing that.
Well, that was for because we all do forget too. It is a children's movie, so that's the relation of the children for the kids part, because a lot of people still dive into the comic books.
But it was a lot of heart to heart. Hit the heart chord like you're a parent. You know what I mean? So
he's black and Hispanic.
And I know that you were laughing every single time that you're punished for 3 weeks.
Oh yeah,
fucking 4 weeks.
Make it a year.
You know what I mean? But like the build up, fucking epic. I can't wait for the next one because it's going to be a shit show.
Great cliffhanger.
I guarantee
Probably one of my favorite cliffhangers.
Yes.
And the reason why I mention it being like here through the first half of the movie is only because now we know that there's a cliffhanger and that the whole next movie is going to be a shit show. So it makes it one big epic tale. But when you say you're watching it for the first time and you're just sitting there like, all right, like, what are we doing here? Where are we going? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Spider-Man with his daughter was fucking epic. I thought that was fucking cool as shit.
Mayday,
you know what I mean?
Mayday Parker?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it took them a year to make that one Spider-Man scene of all the Spider-Mans. It took them a year to do that.
It took them almost 4 years.
When you got the original, the fucking...
67.
The 67. I
feel like they took notes from like the anime when like Dragon Ball Z makes their movies. Because when they do it, their budget is about like $5 million on like one freaking fight scene. Almost. And if you look like how the Broly fight scene was, then you kind of look how crisp and clear the Spider-Man universe was, I totally get why that one thing took a freaking year, man, because everything was detailed.
Yeah.
The animation on this is probably my favorite style, hands down, of animation.
This was all over the...
Love it, because
lack of better words, multiverse of animation, bro, because it was visually one of the most beautiful animated movies or animated things that I've ever seen.
Now we gotta remember.
The colors, the pastels, the shades, the shadows. When it's dark and shit's hitting the fan and it starts to get dark. Like when he sees himself You know, like you're not the I'm not the prowler. You know, and then he
the colors
comes in
change.
and it's
Yeah,
like,
you know, the feeling and everything. I thought that was great. One of my biggest ones that I enjoyed.
I basically said, I apologize for starting it off on a kind of negative note. But there was a reason behind my negative note, is because if you watch it for the first time and you're watching it and don't realize that there's going to be a cliffhanger, like you would think like, hey, this is kind of stretching. This is half the fucking movie. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? Like, where's the action? You know what I mean? Like,
there was action in the beginning of that movie.
I watched the first movie right before I went to go see it, and that shit was fucking so action packed from the very beginning to this point where it was just like, all right, and then it hits the fan. You know what I mean? Like, that was my only thing. Visually, movie's amazing. I fucking love the movie. I don't hate on the movie at all, because now I see it in real time. I see what's going to happen. If you watch it for the first time thinking that it's going to be an eventful ass movie for the first half, you're wrong. I'm sorry, it's not. It's a lot of emotion. It's a lot of family. It's a lot of love.
Well, we can
school.
Agree to disagree, right?
Of course. We as Popcornie podcast.
Definitely a lot of action. There was definitely action in the beginning. My wife didn't even know half the stuff that was happening. She was glued from the moment it started and on. If you think about it, the beginning of it, that was the intro.
Yeah, I mean,
explained
with her and her Peter Parker and everything like that. That was good. I liked that.
I felt
that was 15 minutes.
Yeah, but you needed more than 15 minutes for the whole opening scene. You had to explain about how she was.
Damn right,
you had to go into the depth of the feelings of the kid. Because I feel like what goes wrong with Batman and stuff so much, they replay the same shit, skip over the
If I see another fucking pearls break, I'm gonna flip out.
Well, that's why I think they made that stretched out, like you wanted to say. Is I think the reason for that is they wanted to make sure everybody knew this was a different character. It's not the same story as a Peter Parker story. His problems are not the same as Peter Parker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
And
then Miles Morales,
and then you get an idea, because you think
black
about
Hispanic kid from Queens, bro.
And if you think about it too, everybody in New York, majority of your parents are almost police officers, and the other one's a nurse. So there's another thing you can relate to.
His mother's the quintessential fucking Puerto Rican.
Oh yeah, and then the father's out there trying to make a living. The mother's the freaking backbone.
She reminded me of your mom. You know what I mean?
Pretty much how my mother was.
straight
up. I'm not. Yeah, you know. I thought the way they explained it from the beginning, I thought it was clever. I enjoyed it. I didn't think everybody.
The fact that it started with Gwen, dope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How many times do we need? Well, you know,
they sped that up.
Spider-Punk to me was the best character in the whole fucking movie.
He was great.
He was awesome. I want him tattooed on me. I like him so much.
He was cool. You know, he was definitely cool. I do like that.
Give you a complete rundown, and then I want to hear you, because
like I said,
you asked this rundown, so obviously I want to let you. Because I already amped him up and his blood's flowing now. So
yeah, no, I like I said, I unfortunately I disagree about your take on the beginning of the movie. I thought it glued you in right away.
No,
and
but
then for people
the action
that
of it,
know,
yes, in the very, very beginning. But for a bit, it was just.
Well, then, I'm getting to that. So, the people that don't know the story, didn't read the comic books like we do and stuff like that, I feel like they had to do that to give you a background, to give you a story to go. Because if you didn't open up a comic book and they rush it like every other DC movie and what Marvel likes to do with other stuff too, you wouldn't get the story. You wouldn't get the feelings. You wouldn't get why he was so passionate, why he didn't care about being in that Spider-Man clique. That whole beginning explained why he wasn't even meant to be that Spider-Man.
That was dope.
You needed all that filler from the beginning
to
get to
that
that part.
Dialogue
and
works.
For you to understand the coloring of the background throughout the whole movie, if you pay attention to the beginning of that first pretty much almost hour of that front part of the movie, it kind of guides you on how the colors go with the emotions and everything.
Oh
because
my God.
Everybody, for some reason, some people that I talked when Gwen and the dad were talking for the final time, when they finally made up with everything, and everything went white, so many people complained about that. I'm like, guys, you're not understanding. It went white for a reason.
Yeah,
because
purity is love.
It's right, yeah, and it purifies everything. It's a clean slate, and then they were on the same page. So you notice there was no more darkness anywhere, because when Glenn would talk, it would get really gray. It would get really gray.
Oh my God,
you know what I'm saying? So it was getting to a different level. I felt like you needed that part of the front beginning of the movie, because you understood that when, say, I'm getting passionate about something, the colors are changing, but then it flows into what's going into with you. I feel like if they didn't take that time in the beginning to do that, we never would have understood the genius of the color transformation in the background.
The colors are the emotion in the movie.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It's freaking great.
What I was saying, and I'll be quick because I still want you to continue, because your insight is actually really on point of how I feel knowing what I know now. You know what I mean? Because watching it for the first time, like I said, not knowing that it's going to end in a cliffhanger, I was like, where is this going, bro? Let's go. Like, we only got this a 2.5 hour movie, and an hour is about this. Like, how are we gonna sum this shit up? But knowing what we know at the end of it, it makes sense.
See, I didn't know it was gonna be a cliffhanger.
No,
so right when it ended, the first person to say anything was my wife. She goes, "Why is it over?"
Yeah, shake the maracas.
Why is it over?
Boss,
but that shows you how good it was, because I'm telling you, my daughter didn't even go to see this. Actually, it was just me and my wife. My wife was glued to that thing, and for her to say something like that, where she was caught up from the beginning to the end, I thought that was genius. And then now, I think going into the next movie, the third one that they're gonna do, right?
Which is the final one.
Remember, there's no Spider-Man in this movie, in that universe, right?
Yeah. Well, he's dead.
Well, no.
There was never a Spider-Man in this universe, because that Spider.
And Miles died. No, the Spider-Man died in the first one.
What? No. So the thing is, with that story.
You're talking about Spider-Man in where he is.
Yeah, I'm talking about Miles Morales.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Miles' world.
No.
Well, Miles' world, yes.
In this one, because the mother was like...
How about Evil Miles?
The cosplay? The comic?
Yeah, so
that was fucking
he goes
hilarious.
in there, and I forgot where I was going now. You threw me off, man.
My bad. I just, I had a brain fart. My bad.
Well, I did, so somebody saved me.
There's no Spider-Man in that universe.
Yeah, there's no, so I think Miles Morales is going to stay in that universe and be that Spider-Man.
No, his father's dead in that universe.
He'll die because of the glitching thing.
He's going to get that back soon.
Yeah,
he's going to be part of the club. He's going to be part of the club. Watch.
But I don't know about that.
No, it's impossible
Miguel
for him
is
to
going
live
to change his
father.
ways. There's going to be something that united in Miguel that made him that dark. They're going to go through that.
I guarantee you he's going to show the evil Miles, like, the error of his ways and make him be there for his mom.
Or that might be the first guy Miles Morales kills.
Himself?
Yeah. You want to talk about a total cliffhanger there, because how much you want to bet he might not like the way he treats his mother, or
that's the Spider-Man.
He trades spots with Spider-Man Miles Morales' universe, goes there, and starts wreaking havoc over there. So if he affects his mother, kills his father because he finds out that his Prowler uncle is dead in that one, that could be a huge game changer right there. And Miles gets stuck in the other universe. So what happens there? Miles is stuck there. The other one's
we all know that Miguel ain't going.
But how do we know? Because I thought that spider did bite the Prowler Miles Morales.
No, not at all.
No.
Because
I think he has powers.
I think it's because now this is just me thinking. This is his father died and it turned him to the dark.
Because
path.
when they both saw each other and the whole thing, I could have sworn that was some type of sensing. That wasn't just them clicking because it was them. I think they were both.
They actually answered that. Because in the first one, when in the first scene when you meet the Spider-Man there meets Miles, like in that whole situation.
Well, I meant Miles and Miles meeting.
Well, Miles and Miles meeting.
I'm not talking about the other. I'm talking about Miles when Miles met the Prowler Miles when he was hanging off the ceiling and he was tied up to the bag, and they both did the whole thing. Their colors were the same.
Yeah,
nothing changed there, and it looked like because Miles noticed he was there because of a spider sense.
Because the Miles that Spider-Man was never supposed to be Spider.
No, I know. No, so I know that. Yeah.
Like they're just having like a connection because first off, you're meeting yourself who's an opposite of a different universe.
Because that's
kind of like you change your hair.
But Miles didn't know that was him until he took the mask off. So I'm saying is. I thought that was like some spider sense kind of thing going because he's very agile and all that. I know the Prowler has a glove and stuff like that, but he's not wearing a full suit. He's just wearing a glove and a helmet.
Well, he's got the vest a little bit.
The vest is just a normal vest.
He came down all like looking very demonic.
You know what I mean? And I don't know because he wasn't wearing like a technical suit either. He just had the gloves. The vest was just like a vest, and then you had the helmet on. And for him to hit that bag like that with the impact and have reflexes. And dangle like that. I think he might have something.
Well, his uncle hit the bag.
What's your take on it? I know I spewed out things that stirred stuff out of siracha 100%. But there's a shortage in chili peppers right now, so sriracha stock is going up right now, straight up. But now I want to hear your intake on this because this is we were just gonna freestyle talk about it, but now you wanted us to go in depth. Now I want to hear your perspective of watching. How many times have you seen it?
I saw it twice.
I saw it twice as well.
Because
You're spoiled and get to see it fucking at fucking Thursday night, midnight shows. This fucking guy.
Yeah, because
it's good to be young.
I've always been a big Spider-Man fan. That's literally, honestly, I realized, I wouldn't be like doing the things I do if it wasn't for me seeing. My first movie ever was the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie, and
so cute.
Yeah, I know, right? And then like. Me not seeing Spider-Man, I don't think I would be the person I am into this stuff today. So that's why, like when Spider-Man things come out, I get a little crazy, and I might not
You're
like.
passionate about it.
Yeah, I'm passionate.
And I respect the fuck out of it.
And
yeah, no, you should.
And the Merc would appreciate that too. Shouts out to him.
I just wish they gave the animated series a little bit more credit for this movie, because technically the animated series is the first.
Point.
No.
Me? Who?
But I'm talking about like how technically. The Spider-Verse started with the animated series in the 1990s.
Here, like
You're not wrong.
Yeah, just to go on with that, like this, I really like the Into the Spider-Verse. I'll be honest, Into the Spider-Verse for me, I was like, wow, this is actually a great movie, but I did not have it all the way up on my list like everyone else did, when it first came out, and for a while because like you guys had Spider-Man 2 was my all-time favorite Spider-Man movie because. There's nothing wrong with it. And,
it's flawless. It's a great movie.
Until I saw this movie and realized what was going on in the first one and this movie, this is my all-time favorite Spider-Man movie just because it brings back all the childhood stuff. It brings back every single little thing, every little detail, just like how you're mentioning in The Flash with Batman going back. Like, that's like how it was for me with this movie because you're seeing everything. I've seen pretty much everything, and like it just dug so down deep. And I like Miles in general. Like I like the character Miles because the first time I've seen Miles was the first movie, and then playing the game as well too. Like Miles is an awesome character.
Shouts out to Tom Holland who thinks that Miles should start controlling more Spider-Man than regular Spider-Man.
Yeah. Well, if he's the ultimate Spider-Man, they're gonna have to do that, and I hate to say it, Tom Holland's gonna have to die.
Yeah, but like
the partnership that we're seeing now has technically never really happened. They brought back the Ultimate Spider-Man back to life to do this because
Ultimate Spider-Man
the time jumping, Spider-Verse jumping, they were doing the 616 and Miles Morales. That's what they were doing in the comic books for a little bit.
Yeah, but this movie right here, I feel like was generationally is changing everything because this was outstanding. Like I was in that theater and jaw dropping to the floor at almost every other scene. I know you said you didn't like how slow it was in the beginning, but like what
But that was more the second time around that like I realized like
and then
they kind of dragged out a little bit more than
I wouldn't even say it dragged out. It builds up a great story, and that's what I appreciate. And they added in all the iconic nostalgia. We even saw lots of Easter eggs for new things.
So many Easter eggs.
Like that movie was a full on Easter egg movie.
To figure out the Easter eggs.
And
I wanted to talk about that before too.
Like my theories on it as well. Hands down, best Spider-Man movie ever.
Yeah.
Hands down to like where they're going in the second movie, because there's a lot of theories on it. Well, I meant for the part 2. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, like the theories I have for that is like I know he's dealing with the other Miles, and like you were saying, our Miles Morales we see now is never meant to be Spider-Man, but really I think fate has it that he was supposed to be it, and Miguel, how she's trying to like make everything like, oh, you weren't supposed to do this, this, or that. I think he's wrong.
He's going to be the pivotal point in the third movie.
Yeah, I think he's going to realize he was absolutely wrong about every single person's story, and what is happening now through this multiverse is an actual canon event that's supposed to happen. Like I think, too.
Or he's just doing everything he's supposed to be doing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like because if you think about it, I have theories of if they're gonna add.
I'm actually very intrigued of his perception of this.
Yeah,
right now.
because
I'm loving it. Keep going, bro.
Because I have theories of what and who, if they're gonna bring more characters into the third movie, because it's called Beyond, and everyone knows like Beyond is going deep. Like we were already deep down, we're going even further.
I think they're gonna use Ben. I think they're gonna use Ben Riley more too.
No, they took him out.
They
cut him out.
They didn't really take him out. They used him towards the end. They used him towards the end. The fight with Spider-Man 2099. The only guy he brought with him was Ben Riley to help him with his job.
Spider-Gwen just literally kicked him out of there like it was nothing.
That wasn't the end of him though.
I wouldn't say it's the end.
He's gonna pop in.
Yeah, but he popped in, and he has a lot more.
And then they brought the dream team back together at the end.
But I really think that while the original group and a few more others that were added on that are looking for Miles they're the ones that are going to hit all the other universes and meet all the other Spider-Men out there. Like, I have a theory of.
You really think they're going to bring in all that many?
I don't know that, but I'm just saying.
I think there's going to be a big battle in the Dark Miles' universe that could make and break the universe. There.
Yeah, but like the thing is, Miles saw a vision with Spot killing millions of Spider-Men and his father. So like Miles' mission.
Spot went all black.
The thing is, Miles has to go back to his own universe. Like there's no ifs, ands, and buts. He has to go back. That's where
Spot was created.
Yeah,
as well.
and that's where Spot was created, and he has to go back. Because,
I think Spot would bring him there purposely so you could watch him kill everybody.
But I think they're gonna meet up or even have interactions with Madam Web, the 1990 Spider-Man, and I feel like they're gonna be like, yeah, this is supposed to happen right now, but watch later on because they know what's going on. And then I think like a Spider-Man that's gonna help him out, like go and help out, is the Ultimate Spider-Man, like from the cartoon
Peter
series.
No,
well, Peter Parker's already a part
unless
of it,
you do the Ultimate. But how would that work though?
How to and I think
because
Tom
there's
Holland.
no comics that really have like a because
that show technically is what we're watching. They just didn't make it there yet.
But the thing is,
because
like
the Ultimate Spider-Man show when they were going into with the Green Goblin getting all big with the wings and stuff. You remember that? That's a Green Goblin that kills Spider-Man in the Ultimate Universe comic books.
Yeah, but think about it. It's a different multiverse.
Yeah,
it's multiverses.
he's not wrong.
Different variants. There's 100 different variants of.
I don't think they showed them in it. You can't do an Ultimate Spider-Man when you're already using that universe already. That's the universe. There's no other Ultimate Universe. There's only that one. There's an Ultimate Universe, which is not the 616. It's like 606 or something like that. Then you have 616, and then you had all the other ones that
there's Miraculous, there's Amazing, there's Ultimate,
Spectacular.
there's Spectacular.
There's... You couldn't do an Ultimate when this is technically the Ultimate Universe.
I see your thought, but this
is not the 616.
But I wouldn't put it past that there's a million different versions of the Ultimate. You know what I mean? Because there's a million different versions of everything else in the multiverse. In the theory of the multiverse, obviously there is no definitive answer. We don't know. You know what I mean? It's like looking at the fucking stars and guessing how many fucking stars is in the universe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
and like I don't think he'll have a mega part, but I think he'll try to help as much as he can. But I think they're gonna show Tom Holland giving his credit because I think you were just saying. I
think he wants to retire as Spider-Man, and to do that in this would be pretty fucking dope.
No, because they're already making a Spider-Man 4 movie.
Yeah, but he doesn't want. He wants Miles to be more involved because we need more ethnic characters, superheroes out there.
Yeah, but they're not going to do it in an animated series.
I want a live action Miles.
It wouldn't make sense.
Well, they are making one.
No, they are doing that.
That's what
Why do you think we got the live action Prowler in there?
Well, that was
telling everybody
with Donald
that
Glover.
Shit's gonna fucking
Donald
happen.
Glover, because he was
and he should be
him.
That is a perfect guy to be the Prowler.
In Spider-Man: Homecoming, he was Aaron Davis, and he mentions his nephew Miles to Tom Holland in the movie.
It goes
and
perfect.
also in No Way Home, when fucking Electro was talking to him, it's like, yo, you're from Queens, you fight for fucking. It's like, I thought you would have been black.
I think the Spider-Man from the animated series from the '90s might be.
I think
he might be like the Tobey Maguire in the Spider-Man.
Actor-wise,
when he's the one who calms Tom Holland down not to kill and all that other stuff, I think he's going to be the one to wake up Miguel, and I think that Spider-Man might save.
That's why I said because the thing is. That Spider-Man.
Not the Ultimate one, the animated.
No, I know the '90s Spider-Man because that's one of my favorite animated series.
Come in this bitch.
Yeah, that's my favorite That's my favorite Spider-Man animated series, and
it's a good series.
I think because he worked a lot for a whole series, like a whole 2 seasons or whatever with Madam Web, and I just
filmed that at my job.
Yeah, they're
with another Spider-Man.
Yeah, and Spider-Woman.
I mean, Spider-Man wasn't part of it. It was
no, but they have a Spider-Man in that.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
But Madam Web was filmed and shot a scene, couple of scenes, couple days
Spider-Man
at Grand Central.
Yeah, the Spider-Man in that, I think it might be portrayed as like King.
Okay.
Because it's supposed to be a bad Spider-Man in that movie.
So let's do it. Let's do a quick little rundown. you started the conversation. I want you to end the conversation. What do you give Spider-Man, this newest Spider-Man across the universe or into the Spider-Verse? What do you give it a ranking out of 1 to 5?
I give it a 5.
5?
Even if I can give it a more, because
I wish I could give it more. I really do, man.
Listen, as much I know you guys hated my opinion of it stretching out, but
I couldn't stand it.
But I validated by
I
not knowing that it was going to be a cliffhanger. But now it makes more sense.
But that's like when you're reading the book, books.
But now it makes more sense to me. So I agree with it.
That's what books, like a lot of books.
I knew that was going to be a fucking anchor.
Yeah, they would go.
I knew that was going to be a fucking a wrench in the gear, bro.
Because the reason why I really disagree with that and how you say it was more on stress.
But I don't feel that way. I felt that way while I was watching.
When I had somebody next to me that's not into this.
Yeah, like my niece was passing out during it. You know what I mean? Like,
what? How old is she?
9.
Okay.
And she's not.
Should be
we should have watched. We should have watched.
You know how hard it is. I had my 9-year-old sitting there.
We should have watched the Elementals or something, and she probably would have been more.
No, don't take her to see that movie. That movie is trash. It's gonna teach your kids the wrong things about sex. Don't get me fucking started.
Neither here or there. I give it a 5 as well.
That movie got to see. Now you got my gears going. I'm unplugged now. I'm fucking up right now. But listen, that movie got taken down for a reason because the messages that they were doing for the children.
Well,
nobody had a sexuality.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
I'm gonna get in trouble for this, right? But nobody had a sexuality. Nobody identified at anything, and that's the message that they were trying to, the free spirit wise, of what they were trying to do with this movie, and it bombed for that.
No wonder why Disney is down $900 million in the box office.
And they used that movie as an example. Sorry, Tommy, you should never mention that movie. I every time I see that in the movie,
I was pertaining to more of a 9-year-old than an adult.
I know, but I don't want any children to see that.
I don't know because I've never seen it.
So
thank you for enlightening me.
I feel like children will get a grasp, but they'll never know the full understanding to like a movie like that. But it's not good to put their minds.
Well, no, what they're doing is with that, they're teaching it in the school anyway. So they unfortunately, well, they you know.
You can go on this for forever, but besides
that. I gave it a 5. You gave it a 5.
I'm giving it a 5.
All right. Yeah. So far, out of the 3 real big superhero movies that has come out this year, right? So far, we are doing pretty good in superhero movie world for 2023.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that Guardians is number 1 out of the 3.
Ooh.
100%.
I think Guardians.
To be honest with you,
is 1 at
go ahead, give me a list.
Top.
No one's gonna like my list.
And then Spider-Man, and then Flash. But they all hold a certain place with me that makes them equal.
Yeah, like
you know what I mean?
Opinion's opinion.
So. We ranked.
Oh, you're gonna hate mine. You guys are gonna hate mine.
Because you haven't even seen the Flash, so you.
I listen. I have the gist of it. I already know. The only thing that's gonna make it great, I can see it on the screen. Other than that, welcome to this generation. They ruin every fucking movie.
Yeah, man, it's the.
I can literally go on TikTok and almost finish watching where I left off with the Batman movie because that's pretty much what I did. I was stuck at home. I couldn't see it at the time. And that's a clip. That's a clip. Part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You tie it all together. You get,
you know what I'm saying? So I got the gist of it.
You get a gist, but you don't see it in its entirety.
Oh, they put it in order.
And when it comes out,
it's gonna be out by like 2 weeks.
Yeah. So then we'll have a viewing at your house. And we'll all watch it together. You want to do that?
But I'll let you guys
beforehand and then do what we're doing like today.
You guys give your tops, and then you guys are gonna hate on my tops.
I already gave mine.
Okay. All right, my top. For the movies that came out, I say Spider-Man number 1, Guardians number 2, and Flash number 3.
Okay, I respect it.
And
I mean, they're throwing the other movies out there too. Remember, Avatar was out. Like this is like for the year.
That was last year. We're talking about this year.
Avatar was January.
Or January?
February. Yeah, bro. We're in July now.
Yeah.
A lot has happened this year.
Yeah, you're missing a lot of movies that
Listen,
we
this is a whole other podcast of the movies that dropped this year.
Right, I thought you were just meaning superhero movies.
No. Like, that's why I just wrote it down. Like saying the movies, whatever movies we watch.
But we've extended our reach of time. You know what I mean? So that we'll save all that for another cast. So.
Did you finish?
Yeah, those are mine.
All right.
Spider-Man.
Guardians is going to be number 1, and I have a spot where there's 2 people fighting for it, so I'm going to kind of put it together there. So nobody saw it, and nobody's going to agree with me on this, except for the numbers that are proving that the movie's still good.
Merc has seen it.
What?
Transformers.
Transformers is fucking amazing, and
but I ain't seen it since Mark Wahlberg.
they're not even really counting those, honestly. You're actually really right about this. I think they're going off from the Bumblebee movie.
I've never seen the Bumblebee movie.
Bumblebee movie was awesome.
Never seen it.
It saved, in my opinion. I don't know if you watched it or not.
I don't like Michael Bay's feel of anything.
It kind of... I enjoyed it. I liked it. But I'm going to put Transformers as number 2.
I heard that there was so many bad rankings for that movie.
What, Transformers?
Yeah.
Transformers is a superhero movie.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
And it's tying into the G.I. Joe movies that they're doing, tying a whole franchise with, so you can't tell me that's not genius.
No, well, I didn't know
and
that.
As long as The Rock is not going to be in it and Marlon Wayne, we're going to be okay, because those two fuckers almost ruined the G.I. Joe franchise.
Marlon Wayans is not a good actor.
Marlon Wayne should not be an action-packed hero. I'm not going to believe Marlon Wayne whipping a sword, blocking bullets, jumping off of a building when he was playing, you know? It's just not going to do it for me.
What's your third?
My third would be Spider-Man.
Okay.
Or Avatar. So, technically, Avatar and then Spider-Man. Avatar, I waited for so long for that movie to come out. And same thing with Transformers.
I felt like it took too long for it to come out.
Yeah, but
that's
you know what?
That's a whole other cast,
It
other
waited,
topic.
though, because look at all the shit that came out. Why do you think Tom Cruise's Top Gun movie did so well that it did?
Because it was fucking phenomenal.
No. What it doesn't even matter about that. It's all about the timing and when you do these movies now. Because if you think you're going to compete Top Gun to
but 10
Infinity,
fucking years.
Look at Pixar, what they did with that other superhero movie with the family.
Oh, Invincibles?
Yeah, Incredibles.
Incredibles.
Yeah, but I didn't think the second one was as good as the first one.
Oh, you're crazy.
I didn't think
On that note, I'm closing out my conversation. We're going to drag this out for another 2 hours.
But
that's my pick. That's madness.
That's what
madness.
it is. We had a whole list of topics of conversations, but I actually was very happy that we fixated on the 3 major superhero movies that were DC and Marvel that has dropped this year, because in all reality those are the hierarchies of today when you go and see superhero movies. So I was happy to see that. We have a whole bunch of different topics of like the television shows that's out right now currently being aired, which is Secret Invasions, you know what I mean, which I haven't got a chance to watch yet. Sriracha has enjoyed it. I trust his opinion. The Merc with the Mic has seen it.
Well, I
trust his opinion.
It's alright.
But it's still early. There's only been 2 episodes so far. There's also Arnold, who is now the head of the action the action portion of Netflix, who is taking over Netflix action section. He has a documentary out. It's called Arnold. Phenomenal. I suggest everybody, even if you don't give a fuck about Arnold Schwarzenegger or anything, it is genuinely a great story and documentary, because I am a documentary person and I fucking love it. There's a million different things that is going on in the world right now, but unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we do not have the time to talk about that any further. So I'm going to start this fucking rollout. I am Tatsuku Wap. This is
Sriracha.
He is
Straw Hat Tie.
And this is the Popcornie Podcast. Do you guys shouts outs?
Yeah, alright. I'll go first. I just appreciate we're all back here doing our thing. You could tell that everyone was a little excited to talk, that we lost track of time. We couldn't finish everything.
But we were on point.
Yeah. But I don't really have much to say, but for anybody listening, anybody watching, an announcement for the Marvel Spider-Man 2 game. I will be officially streaming on Twitch and TikTok Live, like with a whole nice new setup, and whenever that game gets delivered to my house, and the moment that thing hits my doorstep, you will see a stream up. So be prepared.
Sounds good.
I have no one to shout out today, man. I'm hungry.
I feel it. Always a shouts out to Game On, retro video game store based out on Long Island, 3 separate locations. One in Smithtown, one in Miller Place, one in Patchogue, satisfying all your retro video game needs. Also check out retro video game On Arcade over in Smith Haven Mall. Shouts out to the Merc with the Mic. Shouts out to Red Cyclone Inc. You can check out every single one of our podcasts, of the Morphin Cast, of the Gamer Rage podcast, of Shell Shock, of Not a Trekkie. Also his weekly podcast of It Gets Better I Swear, and the Wrestling Babble. Check all that out on every streaming platform possible. Shouts out to Louis Bean. Shouts out to my brother. Shouts out to everybody who's chimed in and supported us up to this moment in time. We appreciate you guys. and I will gladly say that we are out.